edition of your Movement as Medicine. From here, we're going to start just like we do every day, those 10 belly breaths. Yesterday we started in a standing position. Today, if we want to try the laying position, I find that since having my son, I have a little bit of anterior tilt still, so I can relax that by putting my feet flat on the floor. Again, I'm going to go in through my nose. Belly's going to come up and out. I'm going to push out through my mouth. Fully empty. Doing that for 10 belly breaths. Remember, we're doing that so that we can try and give ourselves the grace and space to allow 30 to 45 minutes for you to worry about your health and wellness. From there, we're going to go into 3 rounds of our warm-up today. Jumping jack. We're going to do 20 jumping jacks, ideally with the hands and arms. 1, 2, 3. Pretty straightforward. If we've got any injuries that are an issue, say I've got a knee injury, I can keep my feet underneath me and go arms. If I've got a shoulder injury, I can easily hold my arms. And 20 jumping jacks without the arms. So modify as needed, guys. We're then going to drop down into those same spidermans that we did yesterday. So wrist, shoulder, elbow, we're going to stack. So from this high plank position, we're going to bring our foot outside of our hand, long stretch through the hip. 10 of those. And then we're going to layer in what we call a shin box flow. So really good mobility for our hips today. With a shin box flow, we're essentially going to start with our knees in what they call a 90-90. So sometimes you'll see this as a shin box flow. Sometimes you'll see this called a 90-90 depending on where that person learned this particular movement. Goal is to keep hands off of the floor. We're going to look to bring both knees to the ceiling, feet flat to the floor, and then drop to that opposite side. It would be 1, 2. If we struggle with this, guys, we can use our hands to help us get around, but we want to try and get to an end position where we're in this nice seated position and through. So 6 shin box flow. Our warm-up today is going to be 3 rounds of that. From there, our workout today, again, we're going to pull out our dumbbells. If we don't have dumbbells, guys, we can always substitute in with kettlebells. Not a problem, right? We got to use what we have access to. We're going to do 10 dumbbell push press. So a dumbbell push press, the head of the dumbbell is going to rest on each shoulder. From a foot position, our heels are going to go underneath our hips. When we dip, we're going to dip to the heel. A lot of times when people get, especially in the heat of a workout, we have a tendency when we dip to let the chest come forward. We always want to try and think when we dip that that shoulder is going to stay over the hip. Weight's going to stay rooted in that heel. The other thing we want to avoid, even though I keep my chest nice and tall, is coming into the ball of the foot where now I've got air underneath my heel. There's nothing wrong with creating that heel distance on the way up, but on the way down, it's going to put a bunch of undue pressure into your knees. So we're going to do 10 dumbbell push press. Small dip, very small dip, drive up through the ceiling. Looking to get biceps tight to the ears. From there, we're going to go into 10 hand release push-ups. The hand release push-up is really just going to get us to confirm that we're getting the chest all the way down to the deck. Ideally, wrist, elbow, shoulder will be stacked in that top position. We're going to physically come down till our chest makes contact with the ground. Just a small little shadow under the hands and pressing back through. Now, if that's too much, we can come down, hand release, drop to the knees to come up, keeping that straight body position on the way down. And at the very lowest, we would come to knees for both direction of that push-up. So we're going to do 10 hand release push-ups. From there, we've got a couple of options. 200 meter out the door. For those of you that maybe don't have that as an option, or we've got napping kids and we can't run away from our houses as much as we want to, 60 jumping jacks. So we're going back into that. 1, 2. If we've got a jump rope, you could do some single unders. That would work as well. So get creative again, guys, with what you got. We're going to do a 14-minute, as many rounds as you can. So 1 round would be 10 push press, 10 hand release push-ups, 200-meter run. We're going to do that for 14 total minutes. Once we've finished that, our finisher for today is going to be a 1-minute puppy dog. So the puppy dog, from a setup standpoint, from this tabletop position, I'm going to take my knees just slightly outside of my shoulders. I'm going to reach my arms out overhead. I'm going to let my forehead rest on the ground, and then you can see this kind of dip of the upper back. We're going to take big breaths in. 1 full minute in that puppy dog position. From there, we're going to go into a supine twist. So we're going to get some twist in our spine today. 1 leg will stay long. Opposite leg will fall over. You can see how my spine gets nice and twisted. Goal is going to be to keep both shoulders on the ground. Now you can see how I'm hovering much higher with the hip, really forcing that stretch to go through my back. Once I've done that, 1 minute, both directions, I'm going to come back into that puppy dog. So that kneeling tabletop position, reaching arms overhead, resting that forehead on the ground, big breaths. Once we have finished that last minute of the puppy dog, you are off of my hook for the day. See you guys for Wednesday.